Hey, good. Thank you for being here. Let me start off by recognizing my boss, our board chair, Ms. Janie Gonzalez. At the last board meeting, we provided a summer readiness update to the board. So I wanted to ensure that at all levels of the organization, we are focused on doing the things that we need to do to ensure that we prepare ourselves for the summer. So as we normally do before every peak season, we stand before our community and we reassure everybody that we have done our job to prepare in all kinds of ways for the work that's ahead of us. As everybody knows, it's already been warm. This week we've set some records in terms of the heat index that Brian, our chief meteorologist, will talk through next. But I want to reassure the entire community that CPS Energy, from our standpoint, for the assets that we're responsible for the systems that we maintain, we've done everything that we need to do to be ready for the hot summer season ahead. I want to reiterate that we're always not just looking at what's ahead of us in the short term. Because we are a public power utility, we're always thinking about what we have to do to serve our community over the long term. And I want to reiterate a few things about our Vision 2027 strategy overall that has been endorsed and that we're accountable to the board for executing. But we have done a lot to date that I want to reiterate. Recently, we've put out information about the 1,710 megawatt purchase of natural gas generation assets down in Corpus Christi and Laredo. I've recently, along with the chair who accompanied us down Laredo last week, been to visit both of those facilities. They have done the work as the newest part of our fleet to be ready for the summer, and so that additional capacity gives us a lot of flexibility to ensure reliability for our community. In my time as CEO, we've signed 730 megawatts of additional solar energy that is in the process of getting built. That will, along with our gas purchase, will continue to allow us to serve a growing San Antonio in the years ahead. We've added 50 megawatts of energy storage, and we're in the process of signing new capacity for another 400 megawatts of additional energy storage. So we're well on our way to executing our Vision 2027. In addition to that, we announced this week that we signed 84 megawatts of additional wind. And again, the great thing about that is that the wind that we're adding is coastal wind. It's wind that that blows during the day when we need it the most. So we continue to make strategic investments in our diversified portfolio, which is always been the hallmark of CPS Energy's strategy on generation. Recently, we also announced with a new partner in Constellation Energy in the South Texas Nuclear Project that we've been able to acquire, and we're working through the process of finalizing the acquisition of additional 2% of that facility. That's about 50 megawatts of additional nuclear. And we signed a PPA that's already being delivered today for an additional 200 megawatts of firming capacity. So all of these things are just another example of us having a plan, of us executing that plan, and over the long term being ready to support what is the fastest growing community in the country. Our plants are ready, our crews are ready for this summer. We have a new system in place to prioritize work and restore outages. We've put that information out there to explain to the public how restoration happens if a storm comes through, whatever, if there's an emergency that we've got to contend with. We have a process for restoring the largest number of customers the quickest. And so we've been putting out that information, and I hope that you'll continue to view that in those moments where we have opportunities to respond to emergency conditions. Our teams have been through safety training to ensure they're prepared. Obviously, our folks work in the heat of the day, so it's important that our folks are hydrated, paying attention to their personal health, both mentally and physically, and that they're ready to go. Last summer, we had 70-plus days of triple-digit temperatures. And we want to reiterate the importance of conservation for our customers. When we get in those moments during the summer, and it happens every summer, where supply and demand get tight, our customers are the answer to how we manage through those periods. And usually it may be an hour or two late in the evening when things might get tight. You might see ERCOT start to put out calls for conservation. Our San Antonio customers show up every single summer. And I want to reiterate that conservation will continue to be a key component of our strategy for managing through the peak season. I also want to give a shout out to ERCOT. Pablo Vegas, who has been there about the same amount of time that I've been CEO of CPS Energy, I think has really done a good job of revamping their communication protocols so that when there are things that customers in the ERCOT market in Texas need to know, that ERCOT's communicating. Remember, ERCOT is just a manager of the grid. They don't own generation assets. They don't really serve customers. All they're doing is ensuring that the amount of power that is being put on the grid from a resource standpoint matches the amount of load that customers are using. And I want to commend the job that ERCOT has done to take feedback from the Winter Storm Uri experience and really do something with it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian Alonso, our Chief Meteorologist, and we'll go through, as Melissa mentioned, a few of our leaders to talk through their components of summer preparedness, and then we'll come back and take questions at the end. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Rudy. Without a doubt, it's definitely been already hot here in South Texas. We've already seen a couple of triple-digit days here. Most recently was just 2 days ago where we hit a record high of 103 degrees, and we hit an unofficial record heat index of 117 degrees. We've never seen that here in San Antonio. But as we go through this next few months and as we get deeper more into summer, we are going to continue to expect those temperatures to be above normal, so it will continue to be on the hot side. But as far as when it comes to precipitation, this is something that we're definitely going to keep a close eye on, especially as we head later on, as we get into July as well as into August, because some of our forecasts are indicating that we could potentially see above normal precipitation here in South Texas. And the probabilities on that would probably be because of some tropical activity. If you haven't heard by now, we are expecting a very active hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin, which does encompass the Gulf of Mexico. So as we go through the next couple of months, we're going to have to keep a very, very close eye on this. Long-range forecasts have been calling for an average of about 24 named storms here. Normally we see about 14 named storms. So yes, it is expected to be quite active. And there have been some predictions out there that say that Texas is possibly could be impacted as we head a little bit further, again, into the summer months. But this is definitely something I'm going to keep a very close eye on. And we're going to keep a close eye on it here at CPS Energy. And we'll be passing the word on and keeping for staffing purposes, so everybody will be informed. I'm now going to turn it over to our Vice President of Generation Operations, Mr. Rick Urrutia.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Again, my name is Rick Urrutia. I'm with our power generation group. I have the privilege of leading a great group of folks that of operations and maintenance teams that ensure that our power plants are ready for the summer run and all the other seasons that we have. In addition to that, we work collaboratively as one team across the organization. I want to highlight that we can't do it ourselves as power generation. It takes the entire team to get the work done that we do. As Rudy stated earlier, our plants are ready for the summer. That skill set and level of dedication and commitment has led to us being able to get the plants ready, and our required certifications to ERCOT have been submitted by the June 1st requirement. Over the past several months, we have been performing those activities that are required to be done to prepare each plant for summer operation. Really focus on three things. We focus on people, process, and our equipment. First, our people, our most important asset. We really focus on safety. Of course, like as Brian indicated, temperatures are very high in the summer and pose a lot of risk to our employees. So we want to make sure that they're safe, preventing. We have activities in place to prevent heat illnesses and just make sure they're ready for the work. Process-wise, we are developing or reviewing and improving all of those processes that it takes to operate a power plant, especially in the summer when temperatures are higher. That includes preparing for severe weather and emergency operations. All of those activities have taken place during this preparation. And for the equipment, we go through our preventative maintenance programs. That's working on systems such as cooling water systems, HVAC systems, just to get those plants ready for those high temperatures that we expect to see during the summer run. Rudy also mentioned that we've strengthened our fleet by acquiring three new plants. We have 2 in Corpus Christi, that's our Barney Davis plant in Oasis Bay, and 1 in Laredo Energy Center. Not only have they finished their summer readiness activities, they've also put some emphasis on hurricane preparation and severe weather preparation. We're always going to be prepared for hurricanes in Texas, and we've also been informed that possibly the forecast for hurricanes may be a little higher this year, so we're ready to go there. Also want to mention, summer preparedness. Although we go through these activities for the past 3 months and we turn in our certification to ERCOT by June 1st, these activities will continue through the summer to ensure that our plants are in good shape through the summer and get us ready for our next outage season. We'll just keep making sure that we do those checks that are required to be done. Last thing, our plant operations and maintenance teams, they are all committed to ensuring that our plants are ready to go, and just appreciate all the work that our teams have done to get us to this point. With that, thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Richard Medina, our Chief Energy Delivery Officer.
Thank you, Rick, and good morning. So Richard Medina, I'm the Chief Energy Delivery Officer, so I'm responsible for all the delivery of energy, both electric and gas. And so like Rick mentioned, we always start with our people, making sure our field crews are ready for the summer. I also want to thank them because they're the folks working out in the field in the elements, trying to restore power and keeping power on safely for our customers. And of course, safety is our #1 priority, so we're continuing to work with our teams to make sure that they're safe this summer, making sure that they have the proper tools and equipment to work out in the field. And then we've switched to our systems. So similar to power plants, we have a lot of systems throughout our service territory. Substations are the big substations that serve the community. Those substations have been all checked, and we turn that into ERCOT. But in addition, those are all checked monthly to see if there's anything going on that we need to maintain. Transmission systems, we work with ERCOT on transmission systems to make sure the power flows all look good and adequate for the summer. Distribution systems, we have like 8,000 miles of overhead line that we manage, so of course that one's a little challenging. But we do inspections on lines. We're on track to meeting 1,000 miles of vegetation management this year, which is great. Spending $19 million on that activity. Then of course we look at our stock materials, make sure that we have materials in case there's storms. We have adequate stock materials to restore power. We also conducted drills and tabletop drills with the city of San Antonio, the county, just to make sure everybody's ready in the case of an event. Then lastly, just, our team has also completed load shed and black start training with ERCOT in the event that there's an issue. Our teams are all ready. Next, I'll turn it over to Deanna Hardwood, our Chief Customer Strategy Officer.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. As Richard was talking about, you heard the team from an energy perspective. Reliability, we know, is important to our customers, and so that's one of the most important reasons why we want to share that information with you. On top of that, our customers tell us that it's extremely important for us to focus on affordability, and we know as the summer comes along, so does high temperatures, and that results in high bills for customers. And we want to help support our customers and give them the control that they need to be able to make decisions to understand what's the best options for them. So with that, we have energy conservation programs, rebates, and other billing programs that allows for customers to be in the driver's seat to make choices that fit their needs. Also, many of our customers can benefit from what we call our budget payment plan. That's to help with the seasonality of the high summer bills, and we can flatten that out if you'd like an average billing each month and budget accordingly. We have that available for both our commercial customers as well as our residential customers. And along the lines with our commercial customers, a lot of times we get asked of what are we asking the local businesses to do for our community. As we go out and we talk about demand response, we ask for our residential customers to raise the temperature on your air conditioner. At the same time, we have key partnerships across the community with commercial customers, and our businesses continue to help and give back to the community. They help us save approximately 122 megawatts, which is enough power to energize 24,000 homes during our peak energy usage times in the summer. So we do have a comprehensive program, not just for our residential customers. We're asking all of our community to pitch in whenever we do see those events that come up. And along those lines, we also know that, like I said, with high bills comes a challenging different customers experience different challenges in paying those bills. Right now, we have about 76,000 customers that have a past due balance, and that's about a total of $88 million that's past due. We would like to help those customers as well as help prevent other customers from getting in that situation. We have billing programs, we have options, and we have a lot of community partners, over 200 community partners that help us find solutions on behalf of our customers. So we ask that you call us at 210-353-2222 for residential customers, or 210-353-3333 for commercial customers. You can also go online to cpsenergy.com and see all the programs and services that I just spoke about. Melissa?
Great, thank you, Deanna. Thank you, everyone, for those great updates. Deanna mentioned the focus on customers, and the work that we'll be doing from a communication standpoint is making sure our customers are informed of ways that they can connect to billing assistance and how they can save energy and save money this summer. So a couple years ago, we launched a color-coded campaign to help folks with energy-saving tips. It's all associated with what we're seeing in terms of demand on the grid and peak use. So green days is just everyday conservation tips. Yellow days is when we'll encourage folks to save a little bit more during peak energy times. And then orange or red are really when we see ERCOT call for grid emergencies, and we will only use orange and red during those times. So you're going to see this communications in many different aspects. You all as our media partners are going to help us on a daily basis as well. ERCOT has already mentioned the enhancements that ERCOT has made to their communications too. I encourage everybody to sign up for Texans, their app and the website, which gives daily look at the statewide grid. That's a great resource for everybody. And for this year, we do have a new addition to the campaign that you'll see rolling out in a couple of weeks. Customers have told us that they really enjoy the tips. They're getting to know the colors, and we're introducing something that's going to be a little bit more memorable. Also want to encourage folks to check out their emergency contact information that they have on file with us through the energy alerts. If you call 353-2222, you can update that contact information. You can also add a contact to your household. So if you want to add a partner, spouse to receive those messages, we send those out when we see impacting weather that could come in. And of course, during this summertime, that's going to be good to sign up for those. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to invite our team to come back up, and we'll take a couple of questions, and then we can go off and do a little bit more one-on-one interviews, and of course the Spanish speaking interviews too. So anybody wants to start?
Is it hard to guarantee it won't be a large blackout, rolling blackouts? Is that hard to do?
Yeah, I've learned enough time in this business that it's hard to make guarantees on anything. If we lose a big nuclear unit, for instance, in the middle of a peak season, that could be enough to throw the grid into some level of emergency. So all we can do is prepare, and keep our plants going. But things happen. It's electric, mechanical equipment, and it can fail. So while I can't sit here and guarantee that there's not going to be any kind of emergency condition, I can reassure you all that we've done our jobs to get ready.
How do our summer electric bills stack up with other major metro
Well, I'll tell you, our average bill for San Antonio continues to remain pretty stable. We're about $170 a month, give or take, for residential customers. The gap is actually growing with us in the next, the next city, which is El Paso right now. It's kind of number 2. So, it kind of just depends on the house. It depends on, whether or not, you have elderly on, medical equipment. You've got folks who might need to keep a cooler house. So it kind of just depends, but the heat will drive, air conditioning use, which drives, for the most part, what people's bills look like. But the hotter it gets, the more difficult it is in the summertime for customers to manage, their bills. And so we've got, some great programs. We've just gone through the process both at the board level and with city council to increase the pool for folks who can get access to our affordability discount program, which helps. Every little bit helps. And we continue to work with our partners across the community to identify dollars to help people offset their bills. What I would punctuate that Deanna said is that we have been making really great progress on helping customers who are past bill address those balances, but we need our customers to stick with it. So as folks are seeing their bills come in, to the extent that it's more than they can manage, they need to contact us and be proactive about it. All we can do is help those who call us. It's real difficult to help folks who won't engage us proactively, and so I would just reiterate that we ask our customers to just stick with it, and we'll do the best we can to help them in those moments.
What does CPS think about these summers? Is this the new normal? Any thoughts on global warming?
We could probably sit up here, for, a couple hours debating, the drivers of global warming. It's hotter. Last summer was more of a heat. So far this summer, it's been more of a humid heat. And the heat when you see humidity, and I'm no meteorologist, so I'll get Brian up here quickly to help me with this. But heat index is somewhat of a measure of humidity, isn't that right, yes, Brian? So as we have seen more rain, that's why you're seeing higher levels of humidity, which is driving that heat index up. So either way, whether it's heat or humidity, the impact on air conditioners running is absolutely the same. So we're doing our part. Our community has a proactive strategy to manage carbon, outputs so that we can do our part to the extent, it's humans driving, a change in our climate. That's all we can do is try to be as sustainable as we can, but we also have to prioritize reliability, number 1, and affordability, number 2. So I think our approach is balanced. And regardless of what you believe about why climate is changing, it's certainly been a couple of hot summers, and I think this summer is gonna be the same.
I'd like to add
Go ahead, Brian.
Also wanted to add to this that a lot of people aren't really watching, but I am, and that is the Gulf of Mexico. The water temperatures are very warm at this particular time of year. Right now, their average temperature about 85 degrees. We normally don't see these warm temperatures until around mid-August. So think about it. When we get southeasterly flow coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, that's not only humid, but it's warm and humid. Just a couple of days ago, we were seeing our low temperatures in the low 80s, so it wasn't really cooling off all that much. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, especially as we go a little bit further into the summer months with the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, it's definitely going to be maybe warmer evenings.
If I could add to that, as we see higher temperatures, one thing that is helpful for our community to remember is that air conditioners are only set to cool your house 20 degrees between what temperature it is outside and what the temperature is inside. So if you're setting your temperature at a lower than that 20-degree differential, your air conditioner is going to keep working, but it's not going to be able to get you cool that level. So as you continue to find ways to save on your bill, one thing is to think about what is that 20-degree differential and how to set your thermostat accordingly.
Sarah, you have something? With just us having some hot days ahead of it, is it officially meteorological summer?
Yes.
Okay. Did that affect some of your maintenance plans for those shoulder months? And are those are those planned maintenance periods now all finished and?
Yeah, so we pretty much buttoned up our seasonal, weatherization programs. I'll tell you that what we've noticed is those windows for actually doing maintenance have gotten tighter. And the couple of times in the spring that we've seen the market get tight, it's because, we deferred the maintenance as long as we could, and then all of a sudden in May, we had to get it all done. And so you saw some moments in April and May where the market got tight because you had so much generation offline. So it's getting more and more difficult as the temperature, like we didn't see a real a prolonged period of cold this winter. It was cold for a couple of days here and there, and then it got kind of warm starting in March and April and May. And so we still have to do that maintenance. So there will be moments where, our plants might be carrying what we call a D rate. It's maintenance that we've identified that needs to be done, that you have to take the whole plant down to get done. But so what you do is you just back off the amount of output of that plant so that so that you don't have to address that maintenance issue right there in that moment. So maybe instead of 200 megawatts, of a plant running, maybe it's only running at 175 megawatts because you've got some issue going on there that you really can't address until you can take the whole plant down. So now we're in that moment where unless our plants completely trip offline, which we have to address, obviously, when that happens, we're going to manage our output based on, the market needing, the maximum amount of power we can give it. So there's a couple of different ways that maintenance impacts us. And in some moments, especially in the summertime, you got to just run what you can run, until you can get to a point where you can take the whole plant down. And there are going to be times that happens. We got a couple of plants that are in D rate right now that are going to be in D rate through the summer until we can get to the fall and deal with it. In some cases, we've got a couple of supply chain issues. We're waiting on equipment to fix something that hadn't come in yet, and so the plant's derated until we can get that done.
Rudy, just for one more. Rudy, just an update. Earlier this year, we had that rate increase. Just an update on what CPS has been able to do in that time with that additional revenue that has come in.
Well, we're again because we have been proactive, and let me just again my board chair shows up. She's in my 12 years here. I'm not sure we've had a board chair who's been so consistent about showing up when we're having a conversation with the community. Rate cases are difficult, and believe me, I don't stand up here, proud of having to ask our community for more dollars, but we had gotten behind on making, investments in our system. And what our leaders are up here telling you is we've gotten caught up and we're doing the work we need to do to make those proactive investments, and not just over the short term. The investments I talked about in the generation assets that we've been able to acquire, those are decades-long investments. And what our rate case revenue has done is really just set us up to be able to go out there and proactively manage our finances to be able to make thoughtful investments. Again, we couldn't do that if we weren't controlling the costs that we can control to keep our rates still amongst the lowest in not just the state of Texas, but in the country. The good thing about it, about the impact of our rate case, of our rate increases has been gas prices are down. So marginally, you haven't really seen an increase in the customers' bills because of the rate increases, because we've been able to manage our fuel costs to kind of offset that impact. So we're hovering. We were actually at one point in time somewhere around $177, $175 a month was our average bill, and we're down about $170 right now because our fuel cost is down. So we're doing the best we can to manage the costs that are manageable so that we can, limit the impact of what those rate cases, are producing. And we're also doubling down on the affordability programs that we offer our customers. So I think it's a really balanced approach, but it is not lost on us that it is difficult anytime we have to ask